Mamma mia, that's a spicy recap.
We're doing Italian today.
How do you say yes in Italian?
How do you say yes in Italian?
Oui.
That's French.
Si.
That's Spanish.
Yes.
No, well, actually, no, it is still Italian.
It is si. Oh
yeah,
my god, how does he do it? Welcome back to the Double Dip Draft League. It is week 6 of the Violent Division, and I am your host of the recap for this week. I am Spood, coach of the Southtown Sandslashers. Joining me today, as always,
is White Loaf, coach of the Loafville Lanterns.
And it is do or die time, okay? Week 6 is sit down, shut up. Let's figure out, like, where we're going here, because we have some matches that are earth-shatteringly fundamental to how this is going to play out. And it's still so close, all the way down to basically 7th place here, that the matches here are, like, this and week 7, that's it. You know, that's all you have left, and anyone could really snipe that 4th spot.
Yeah.
Except Woody. But, you know.
Except Woody.
Except Woody. With all due respect. I'm excited. I just want to talk about standings. I literally don't even care. So let's just, let's jump to that. Let's watch our first match of the week, which is Milo of the Canadian Cottonees versus Woody of the Schaumburg Salamences. At the risk of beating a dead horse, Woody, someone who often is 6-0'd. Milo, someone whose differential is actually pretty good to the point that he doesn't need the 6-0, he just needs the win. And Woody has not yet taken a win, so this is your opportunity. You got your win on Cabral, you've kept it close versus everyone else, you don't even have to 6-0 Woody, you just have to beat it.
Yep. All you have to do is win.
But, you know, all you need to do is win.
Yeah, a 6-0 would be very nice, but Milo, I mean, like, it's so weird, despite being, like, so low, like, he's kept, like, a good differential, like, the entire season.
Yeah, again, you know, his matches that he loses are so close, and he did get some very respectable, you know, again, into Cabral, won by a decent amount. His losses were so narrow after that he's managed to keep his diff just looking really nice, despite his win-loss not being as nice. And Woody, this is your perfect opportunity. If Woody's a later match in your division, this is your time to clean up, get some more diff, get a win under your belt. This could put you back in contention. Conversely, if you find a way to drop this, you're out. It's over for you. So, nothing else to really say about it. Let's check it out. Now, usually in these scenarios, you just want to setup sweep Woody. I don't really see any amazing setup sweepers besides like a Dragon Dance Kyurem, which is going to need some chip to get going on this team.
Yeah, no, Dragon Dance Kyurem, like, especially against, like, Lucario, is not ideal.
Yeah.
Against everything else, it can actually be kind of okay.
The thing, also, like, a speed-boosting Roaring Moon could outrun it, is the problem. And you could get paralyzed by Lantern, and, you know, like, there's a lot of problems, potentially.
Yeah. Big para, quite unfortunate. You know, Woody getting that trademark look, but, you know, also forgetting that we do have a ghost type, so Facade is not free.
That's true. And Milo smartly, you know, saying, like, you don't have Spore, dude. Let's be honest, you don't have Spore.
Yeah. You're not him.
Also, Woody goes for the Ice Beam. I guess he's predicting a switch, maybe because Milo wouldn't want to get parried. But Milo doesn't give a damn. Milo will take that para, which I don't really think it's a great trade. Like, I don't think damage on this is worth getting the paralysis, but then again, if you are Dragon Dance Kyurem, that's pretty useful damage to have, so.
Yeah, and now you don't have to worry about it getting T-waved at all. But that being said, now this thing comes out, and at this point, like, you don't want to stay in and take a crunch.
I mean, I would maybe go for the burn, except, like, if you get full parried there and you don't switch out, then you're totally boned.
Yeah. Also, Woody with the Terra read.
He did get another Terra read. I have no idea if Woody's actually looking at those Terras or not, but he does seem to get that read all the time.
I want to give him the benefit of the doubt and say he is, but I gotta be real, Chief. I don't think he is.
He's that guy. He's just that guy. Yeah. Now, that was a questionable switch into Araquanid when this thing is, again, unaware and is either resistant or immune to stuff.
Mm-hmm. nice good burn. So
Yep.
at this point, like, nothing's gonna do any
Can't
damage
do
at
the KO.
Earthquake.
Yep.
Yeah.
Black Off is very free here. This is a questionable turn. I didn't really like this.
Yeah.
I think
no.
he probably forgot about the speed drop from Paralysis and wanted to just burn it to, kill it. But the Terra Ground cinched that kill. And in fact, it gets the back-to-back, because now without the rock typing, it lives the Seed Flare too.
You mean the grab? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because the right on Terra.
Yeah. For some reason, I thought you were talking about, like, Shaman resisting. I was like, Shaman doesn't have a rock type? Wait,
No.
what?
No, silly.
No.
But actually, Woody is getting some ground here. It is 3-3. Now it's back down to 2-3. Lucario, doesn't really want to take a close combat. I'm not really sure why Woody would double into this. Because if this had come out hard, then maybe, like, a fighting move would definitely killed it. Not that I think he even has one.
No Mach Punch here.
Yep. Not that I think. I mean, it gets Vacuum Wave, but...
Vacuum Wave Breloom, let's go.
No. Well, I think Lucario has Vacuum Wave. Or he can get it anyway. So that could have been good into like a -4 defense, but...
Real shit, Nasty plot Lucario kind of sick.
True, I mean, it's good. It's a good special decker. It could be a good mix, too. I mean, good grief and alas. Not a 6-0 for Milo, but once again, Milo's diff can handle it. That is a win, and Milo needed a win so bad.
Yeah, like, honestly, Milo played it pretty safe. And getting the win is the most important thing at the end of the day here.
Got a lot of mileage
Milo needs the most.
Oh, yeah, sorry about that. Got a lot of mileage, too, out of the...
A lot of mileage?
A lot of mileage out of Unaware to this game. There's a lot of Woody just setting up and Milo denying it.
Yeah.
So I was pretty, I was pretty happy with that. That can be a lot of pressure. It can be scary to fight Woody. To especially know that your season kind of hedges on this as a win. That can be doubly scary, but Milo did hold it together enough to get a respectable 3-0.
Yep. Moving on to our next match, we have Claire, coach of the Maryland Manectrics, versus IDM, coach of the Brussels Espeons. So, IDM, widely considered our best player in Double Dip, but something that is interesting is, these two have fought quite a bit, and Claire has the advantage. She has won 3 out of 4 of the matches that they have gone up against.
That is true, in Double Dip. I mean, you could reach all the way back to 2016 if you wanted to split hairs about, like, SSL. But as far as Double Dip is concerned, they have played 4 times going into this match, and IDM has only gotten 1 win. Claire being... Besides, like, fringe case of, like, awesome, the Dallas Star Manectrics back in Season 2 who fought him 1 time, then never played again. Claire, the only active player to have a winning record. Scoots and Kemeth are both even into IDM, but neither of them have a winning record. Claire, the only player to have a winning record into IDM. And a pretty decent one, too. So this is, I mean, if IDM is going to lose anything going forward, I think this would be the scariest match. And he was definitely stressing for it in the chat, if you remember looking at it.
I actually did not look at it. I'm gonna be real.
No, IDM was not looking forward to playing this one.
I don't read.
But I mean, yeah, Claire, great player. Someone who, like, to have a winning record into IDM is by itself pretty much an auto playoffs qualification. Like, if you can keep it real and pretty much most of the time beat IDM, that means you can make some deep playoffs runs. And she has been the bane of his playoffs run more than once, I believe.
Yeah. This is indeed IDM's kryptonite.
Yep. So we'll see if that continues in Game 5. And we have some pretty interesting brings this time. The classic, like, Smeargle and Mew, on Claire's side. But we also see Granbull, which I don't believe has come yet.
Granbull hype.
Conversely, IDM with the Flareon, which we also haven't seen.
Yep. We've got a lot of classics on both sides, but no, just some very interesting and different picks.
Mm-hmm.
Flareon, it's never been one of the most beloved evolutions, but it does definitely have a pretty good niche, especially with Terra.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to actually take advantage of Guts and Flame Orb now is quite nice.
Yep.
Granbull, honestly, Granbull is, like, an evolutional wave of just being a better Incineroar.
It's pretty good. I mean, it has Intimidate, it has strong Fairy Stab, like, it's got a niche.
Yeah.
Especially into this team where the only resist to Fairy is this Flareon, which I don't think is that scary, if I'm being honest. You know, like, Flareon looks pretty decent to this team, but, you know, outside of, like, into Wo Chen and maybe to absorb some Burning Bulwark stuff off of Gouging Fire, if Gouging Fire doesn't just Earthquake it to death, like, there's not a lot going for Flareon, unless it Terras.
I don't know, Chief. All I'm saying, that Flareon got 130 attack. That's all I'm saying.
That's true. I mean, we gotta see if you know, I think Flareon's gonna have to be your Terra Sync. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which means Primarina can't do it.
Yeah, that is the only problem with Flareon.
So let's have a look at how it goes.
So starting off with the Grand Bull, I always forget this thing gets Will-O-Wisp, but, you know, who cares? Because we just get a nice crit right at the beginning.
And she just immediately crits.
Yep.
Now, as it turns out, IDM did calc this. This is not banded, and so that crit did matter.
Yeah.
But we do see the Terra Normal and a Trailblaze coming out, and now the thing, Terra Normal Guts Facade at +1 speed is actually immediately quite scary.
Yeah. No, this is... like, no Ghost Resist, unless we just Terra Ghost, you know, we just say, nah, fuck it.
Yeah, there was
I don't want to be facaded.
But, you know, Claire brings a very good Terra for that.
Yeah.
I know she likes Terra Poison for this usually, so it was good to bring Terra Ghost.
Yeah. I think Terra Ghost did surprise me just because, you know, Annihilate is right there. But aside from Annihilate, like nothing else really cares.
Is the thing.
Yeah.
Because, like, Wo-Chen, you know, you could get bullied by, like, a Taunt, Bulk Up, Drain Punch, but if you're Terra Ghost and you're just literally not even hitting it with, like, attacking moves, then it can't hit you either.
Yeah. Dual Wing Beat doing nothing.
Yep, crit.
Yep. Now, this is a scary situation. We've seen what IDM can do with Primarina not being able to give the seed. You're now on the back foot.
Yep, this thing is very scary.
Yeah. Setting up the Calm Mind, IDM getting ready to go for game, basically, here. But Supercell Slam, hype.
Yep.
Once again.
I do like the Psychic Noise to prevent any annoying Roost stuff. Draining Kiss, Grandma's Kisses coming through.
Yep. Goes for a safe Earthquake, trying to predict an Ursaluna switch in. But at this point, Thundurus gets to just come in.
Yep. Now, IDM is predicting this to be a Specs, but it's actually Life Orb, which means that it is not, in fact, locked into Thunderbolting, and it has Psychic as well, which is a 2-shot, even into a Leftovers Annihilate, which this is not. And suddenly, wait, this thing is really fast and has moves to hit 2 out of 3 of these, and to now 3 out of 3 of these.
Yeah.
And it's faster than all of them. And actually,
it's just sweeps.
Yeah, because Grassnot, you know, it's based on opposing weight. Ursaluna is huge, and it's weak to grass, and this thing has a huge special attack stat. And, well, that's another one in the book for Claire, because she doesn't need to set up Sweep You if she can just click attacking moves with a Life Orb Thundurus.
Yep.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that is really unfortunate for IDM. Just made a bit of a team building, I wouldn't say blunder, like he didn't do anything wrong, but just kind of presumed incorrectly that this would be a Specs Thundurus, and it just wasn't, and that just was all it took.
Yeah. You know, as nice as having that big power increase of Specs is, like, being able to freely choose a different move is honestly sometimes just way better, especially in a matchup like this.
And this is one of those games where, like, you know, IDM loves his screens, he loves playing behind screens. A screen here would have totally shaped this very differently. But as it stands, Claire ended that game with more than enough resources to be scary.
Yeah.
A 4-0 over IDM, bringing their lifetime now to 4-1 in favor of Claire. So, IDM, amazing all-star player. Claire is elevated from a thorn in his side to, like you said earlier, some real kryptonite.
Yeah. This is no longer Thanos being punched by Iron Man being like, all that for a drop of blood. Now this is, oh, wait. I've been stabbed.
Yeah.
I've been legitimately stabbed.
Now, what's nice, so, upsides and downsides. Downside for IDM, his guaranteed buy is now no longer guaranteed. He just went from I'm in control to I'm tied with Aurora, potentially. I can go as low as third. Versus, Claire is now in a position that she can snipe the buy. And, if IDM doesn't get the buy, that's another round of playoffs that needs to be played. And every round of playoffs is single elimination. So if you get unlucky one time, face up into a bad matchup, maybe he ends up versus Kenneth or Scoots, other players who can, who have a track record of being able to beat him, that could be really scary without that bye. The upside is, at least Claire's in your division, so you're not going to have to fight her until later into playoffs if you do it all.
Yeah. With that being said, though, let's go ahead and move on.
Yeah.
So
we got more. Yeah, sorry. So get some
standings.
So that was All-Star Match number 1 this week. Number 2, very interesting, very anticipated. We have got Cabral of the Slinging Aegislashers versus Mass of the Treasure Town Togetics. This is a rivalry. This was, I believe Mass has not been able to get a win on Cabral quite yet, but it's always close. And they have a history of friction. Matt took his Vaporeon last main season on purpose to mess with him from from drafting, because that was what Cabral wanted, and he always, doesn't first pick Vaporeon, but he does go for it quite early a lot. Mass wanted to mess with him because in the season before that, which I believe was season 5, Cabral versus Mass, they played week 7 in their division for a playoff spot, and Cabral won. So there is a history between these two players, and it is just so happening again that they are effectively playing for loser is out. Both of these guys need this win if they want to go on to make it to playoffs, because if they don't, especially now that Milo just got that second win and has such a good diff, you need all the help you can get. One of these players will go up to 3 wins. That will keep them ahead of Milo for at least 1 week. If you lose it, sorry, man, you're going to have to hit the bricks.
Yep.
So everything on the line for this one.
Age versus not so much age.
Age versus rage. Yep. Now, I will say again, Mass, with one of the best drafts I've just straight up ever seen in any season of Double Dip ever, seems to always feel like he has a good matchup, and looking at this, there is no exception. He has the tools to handle Gliscor, Shell Smash Blastoise. He can handle his Brambleghast, he can handle like a setup Vaporeon, he can handle like Sticky Web Leavanny. He has got answers on answers. He just needs to play them well, and he needs to play the information game well. He needs to figure out, is this a setup Leavanny like we've seen before, where it's like a trailblazing, swords dancing, triple axling Leavanny, or maybe it's a flow webs Leavanny, maybe it's like a screens Diancie, maybe it's just like AV Diancie, maybe it's a Swords Dance setup Gliscor, maybe it's just a full send Fizdef like Toxic Orb Gliscor. There is a lot of stuff that Cabral's team could be. It could be bulky Spinner Blastoise, it could be Shell Smash Blastoise. There's a lot of stuff in the game here that he needs to find out to figure out how he needs to play his pieces, but he has the pieces for anything that Cabral could bring here.
Absolutely. While these Pokemon do kind of tend to be relatively the same, Dragapult, while its favorite is special, its physical set is still incredible, and Mass has shown that he does enjoy the physical Dragapult. In Amorous, you have to guess, is it physical in Amorous, is it special in Amorous?
Yeah.
Honestly, the only thing that's disappointing here about Frostlass is the fact that it doesn't get Freeze Dry, so it can't just spam Freeze Dry into literally every single Pokemon on this
5 out of 6 of these Pokemon are weak to Freeze Dry, which is very funny. But it does not have it, so, moot point.
Yeah. And then Morpeko has, been kind of a secret star for Mass. It is a very powerful Pokemon, albeit, a little difficult to handle.
It can be tricky, but I mean, electric and dark stab, being used in tandem with such a powerful move like an Aura Wheel, This thing can get out of hand quite fast, especially if he's already got chipped down on like Diancie and maybe like a Terra Brambleghast or something, like, or even a Terra like Vaporeon, depending on what it is. As long as it's not just acid armored in his face, like this Morpeko immediately pressures anything, and this Corviknight shuts down any kind of offensive Diancie or Leavanny or Gliscor as long as it's alive.
Yeah.
So Cabral has got his work cut out for him, but he's done it before. Can he do it again? It's all on the line.
So leading off with Diancie, just fucking takes a huge pump to the face.
Yep.
And then leaves.
Yep. Mass does not even bother trying to read a switch. Goes for the Hydro Pump, knows that he can pretty safely Volt Switch. Worst case scenario, he can force this thing to Terra. Goes for the Raw Thunderbolt instead. Cabral reveals this thing has Yawn, so if it is a setup set, it doesn't have very many setup moves, given that it's revealed that it's Yawn Protect. And Mass does fall hook, line, and sinker for the Yawn into the Protect on the Volt Switch.
Yeah, no, I do love that, you know, despite showing off Protect, like, we still, like, go for the Volt Switch, and Cabral knows that and just immediately, you know, takes advantage. That being said, having a Corviknight set up bulk up in front of you is scary. Like, yes, Swords Dance is nice, and Fire Fang, you know, hoping for either a flinch or a burn, one of the two.
Yeah.
But when push comes to shove, Corviknight can win this as long as it has Roost.
Yeah, it needs to not just get super unlucky, but the odds are in Corviknight's favor, and at the end of this, if it's still set up, like, you haven't seen, you know, there's no acid armor on that Vaporeon, almost certainly. So, ooh, and that power trip crit, you know, again, like, this thing could have been lower, it could have been burned, it could have been flinched. That crit makes it so much safer for Mass. This power trip does not kill the Blastoise, and that Surf goes from low roll to high roll, 34 to a 38.
Yeah, that did save him.
The roll was a very risky switch there, too. You know, if that was a knock, that would have just straight up killed it.
Yep.
But Cabral goes for the Terra Ground, Terra Blast, and Shadow Sneaks, and this Frost Blast is gone. See you later.
Yep, don't get to see anything from it.
This Dragapult, I have no idea when this came out. He just U-turns, and that's it. He just took 52% for no reason, basically.
Yep.
But now, again, this Morpeko's in, and it's really scary. Pretty much kills anything in one hit, except for this Diancie. But, you know, even, like, because it doesn't have an electric Aura Wheel there, but, like, it's
now
still,
it does.
It's hard. But now it does. But then he leaves for some reason.
Could be choice lock.
Oh, you know, it could be.
Yeah. It could be running a band or something like that.
True.
Though, I think band would be pretty bad here, just because of, like, you know, all the resist and immunities.
Yeah.
Which is probably why we, unfortunately, don't get to see Morpeko too much this game.
Very funny, by the way, that this, like, pain split took Vaporeon to, like, 50% and gave Rotom all of its HP back. Just the HP stat on Vaporeon, ridiculous.
Yeah.
Again, this thing's being a real problem, and even with no Acid Armor, this thing a Dark Aura Wheel, not enough to seal the deal. He needed to do a Protect there to get his Electric back. So now Vaporeon, I mean, it has, I won't say outlived its usefulness, but it's done its job. It got rid of Morpeko.
Yep.
And now, I mean, Brambleghast is looking pretty good into this late game. And Emorous is, like, a little bit scary. Cabral decides to go into Blastoise, forces some kind of attack, reveals it's a special set, goes for the Calm Mind because he knows it can't kill this in one shot, not anticipating the triple axle.
Yep.
Excuse me.
I do love the infatuation, you know. I don't know how that works with triple axle, since, you know, I don't imagine it would, like, take effect there.
It doesn't stop you. Yeah, it doesn't run that check again. It only runs accuracy checks after that.
Yeah. But yeah, no, with that, Leavanny does manage to clean up right at the very end. No, this physical Leavanny set has saved Cabral, I think, twice now.
It's been good, and you know what? Like, again, Corviknight blanks it in its entirety, no problem, but Corviknight died too early.
Yep.
Thing is, I mean, Corviknight was positioned really well. Like, I don't want to diss his Corviknight play. It actually looked like it might just win from very early in the game. But when he needed it, it was gone. And, you know, it was a tough one. He definitely bungled his Dragapult. You know, he played that very poorly. His Morpeko, I think he played too passively. His Enamorus, he could have gone for a hit into this anyway, even if it might not have killed. Maybe he could have risked the crit. You know, there was a lot of options that Mass had to not lose this that just kind of fell through his fingers like grains of sand. And Cabral held it together, you know? It was Mass's game to win, and it was Cabral's game to lose. And Cabral stubbornly clung on and clicked all the right buttons in all the right order, and Mass just gave him opening after opening to get the win. And Cabral took it. Cabral found those openings, and he sunk his claws in, and he didn't let him go.
Yeah.
And finally, we've got Jason versus Aurora. Why don't you introduce it?
We got Jason of the Hartford Honchkrows versus Aurora of the Hoensbroek Haunters. I mean, both these teams are just very scary. You will notice one thing on Jason's side, and it kind of makes sense considering this matchup, but no King Gambit. Now, granted, you know, I don't know why you would bring King Gambit against Iron Valiant, so probably a safe bet as to why it's not here.
King Gambit against Valiant and Dondozo is pretty bad, so like it's kind of not even worth bringing. I totally agree.
Yeah. But we do get to see Torterra in its place, which I'm very happy to see my boy here.
That's a scary one. It's going to struggle with Hydrapple, but pretty much everything else is kind of scared of this thing.
Yeah. Aurora, you know, kind of just running tried and true classic Spiritomb, Regirock, Hydrapple, Pincurchin, Iron Treads, and Valiant. Honestly, like aside, like I'm pretty sure this is almost the exact same team that she brought last week, at least in terms of Pokemon.
It's close, yeah. It's actually funny to see no Dondozo twice in a row, given how amazing it is. But it makes sense. It was sound not to bring it, I think, both times.
But yeah, with that, I think, honestly, unless you have anything else.
No, I think let's just jump into it. You know, Aurora is pretty much a lock by now. Jason definitely wants a win, but he actually can just about afford not to get it if it has to.
Yeah. I do love the huge body press and the Terra to prevent the close combat chip.
I think she probably Terra'd to prevent getting like a Steely Spirit Iron Head.
That too, yeah. Although honestly, I don't know if he runs Steely Spirit over Tough Claws at the end of the day.
Yeah, maybe not. Psybeam?
Yeah. It throws me off every time.
Definitely no reason to run that move. There's just no reason to run it over Psychic.
Yeah.
There's a 10% confusion chance, so I guess if you're that dude, you know. But I have a feeling that maybe Jason misclicked it or it was on mobile or something.
Yeah. Now at this point, like, you look at that damage and like, there's no way Pincurchin does that naturally. That is specs, absolutely.
That's the spectacles that Pincurchin can't see very well, so he needs some glasses.
Yes, sir. Now we have Torterra setting up Shell Smash. Now, we did calc this, because this, at first I thought this was a pretty big misplay, but you do need another Shell Smash in order to be able to kill Spiritomb here, and that gives Aurora enough time to set up a Trick Room.
Yep, and still you could kill it from that range, but then the Dark Pulse, of course it would flinch. Why not?
Yep.
That's just kind of the way that it's been this whole season.
Yeah. Even if that had not been the case, you know, at this point, like, you know, you kill Spiritomb and, you know, probably Hydrapple or something comes out.
Yeah. I loved the double into Berserker there, by the way. Aurora does then just go right back in the Spiritomb, so it's fine, but, you know, that thing is actually ready to punish this thing. And Aurora makes a triple there. Back into Iron Treads, and again, it's the right play.
Yeah, the Iron Head still did so much damage, though, all things considered.
Yeah, seriously. I'm telling you, man, that's gotta be Steely Spirit.
I don't know. Tough Claws, like, that thing I think has like an attack stat of 125, and Tough Claws is a nice ability. But speaking of nice Pokemon, this Zapdos coming out doing a lot to Treads, killing Regirock, doing a lot to a resisted Pincurchin.
Yeah.
You know, Hydro Pump hurts, get a Roost up, and, you know.
And you know what, dude? Jason is that guy, because he does run these, like, low accuracy moves just for the hell of it, and he actually gets so rewarded this game. He hits every Hurricane.
Yeah. Gets knocked off, gets another Hurricane hit, another kill. Unfortunately, this thing comes out now though, and at this point, it's like, yeah, never mind.
You kind of have to play. Of course, it would get frozen. I was gonna say you kind of have to play like some scary 50-50s. Like I would have wanted to roost in front of the treads, but then it would just earthquake me. So
yeah,
I don't know. I get why you wouldn't want to do that. He does get an early enough thaw, but does not opt to haze again, and now this thing is just able to kill the Toxapex. But he goes for the Baneful Bunker to try and poison it, and she predicts the Baneful Bunker and gives up the +4, and he tries to double Baneful Bunker to maybe get it that time. Does not get the double. And from there, that's a powerful fake out, but not powerful enough.
I'm telling you, it's gotta be tough claws. Look how much.
I don't know. Maybe. It's hard to say. He says, man, give it fucking bullet push.
Real shit.
Honestly,
that
true.
thing would actually be so much better if it did.
So true. I love Berserker anyway, but yeah, I mean, that it was unfortunate. I think that I understand the rationale behind all of Jason's plays, and I like them, so I'm not really like tripping about it.
I would say the one exception would be Psybeam. That's about it.
Yeah, he got some of the stuff wrong, but I don't like. I think everything was founded in the right thinking. Like I think he pretty much just got unlucky on some 50-50s, unlucky on a Dark Pulse flinch, unlucky on the freeze, and then just made a read wrong here and there, and that was enough to do it. Because again, Aurora's the wall. You're not gonna beat Aurora without having a tight ass game plan and making some good predictions. And as it turns out, she came prepared for some stally ass shit. She came with that back-to-back swords dance, and she played around the Baneful Bunker quite expertly, and she just positioned exactly the way she needed to. And then again, that triple earlier in the game, that into treads into Spiritomb, back into treads, just to position. She's an artist. When it comes to this game, just truly.
But that is our matches. Let's go ahead and take a look at the standings. Would you like to get into the top 4?
Don't mind if I do. So leading the pack now in place of IDM, we have got Claire of the Maryland Manectrics in place to get the bye at a 5-1 plus 18 differential. IDM knocked down into second place at a 5-1 plus 13. Aurora also at a 5-1 plus 13, but because of the tie, she does not win that head-to-head, and so is therefore in third. And in fourth place right now, just barely clinging on, is Cabral of the Hatchling Aegislashers at a 3-3 dead even 0 differential.
Yes, in fifth we have Milo, Canadian Cottonees at 2-4 with a +2 in differential. We have Jason with a 2-4 as well, but this time with a -5 in diff. We have Mass Treasuretown Togetics with a 2-4 again, but this time with a -13. And of course, we have Woody 0-6 with a -28. No longer the lowest diff in the season, though.
That's true. Congratulations to Woody. Woohoo! Okay. So this is an interesting division because there's stuff on the top and there's stuff on the bottom that you need to be looking out for. Now, notably, this is the first time IDM has lost the bye since he got it in season 2 or in week 2 of the season. Mm-hmm. He has been sitting there very pretty. Claire sniping that #1 spot. Now there are 3 people in this division at a 5-1, which is not the case in any other division as of this week. Week 6, there's no other 5-win players. All of them are in this division. So you've got 3 5-1s, and they have beaten each other in a circular head-to-head. So Claire beat IDM, IDM beat Aurora, Aurora beat Claire. So there is potential for some skullduggery at the end of this week if they all just so happen to get the same or similar or, just the right way results. You could actually see a 3-way tie.
Yeah, absolutely. But, at this point, all players, are definitely, anyone at this point can definitely get the bye week. It is anyone's game, but it's like you said, it can literally just come down to a 3-way tie, and I pity the people who have to decide that factor when it comes down to that.
I mean, it's gonna be a bonus game, I don't know exactly how we're going to play it out. We've never had to before, but this is the closest I think it's been to getting a three-way tie in a while. I mean, we had some closeness in Pearl Division last year, but man, this one is difficult.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, Claire does hold the advantage here by differential, and, you know, she is going to be quite happy to just sit there. You know, if she just gets a win by, you know, 3 or higher, or maybe even 2 or higher, that locks her in as the bye. But if she has a tight win or a loss, you know, she could very easily lose that to IDM or Aurora. And the way that they have the last week's schedule here, there's a lot in Aurora's favor, believe it or not. Despite despite sitting in third, her week 7 is Woody.
Yeah.
And I think you can pretty realistically expect Aurora to be a 6-0er.
Yeah. Which does kind of put her at a high chance of being the one who gets the bye.
Yeah. Especially because she has the head-to-head into Claire. You know, if Claire wins 1-0, Aurora wins 6-0, they're both 6-1 plus 19. Aurora gets the bye in that case.
Yeah.
Presuming that IDM doesn't also get a 6-0 this week, which would then tie him as well at 6-1 plus 19. That would be the scenario.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that is going to be tough. I would honestly, I would give it to Claire. I expect Claire to get the bye. I think IDM is the least likely of the three to get the bye, weirdly. I actually think that just because, like, Aurora has Woody lined up to play, she has a great shot at it. Claire is already sitting in the driver's seat with, you know, she doesn't have to even win by that much to secure the bye. So, you know, she's most likely to get it. I think IDM is going to be fighting for his life out there.
Yep.
But tell me about the bottom. Tell me about number 4.
Number 4 is... God, number 4, where did it even begin? So, right now, obviously, Cabral is sitting comfortable in that spot. But he's not exactly...
Sorry.
Yeah, I wouldn't exactly say comfortable, actually. Let me rephrase that. He has made himself at home, but he should not be too comfortable yet. You know, literally, if Milo does get a win, and they win by a decent amount, they have just solidified playoffs easily. Even if Cabral, like... Yeah, no. Sorry. Cabral has to win this match in order to solidify himself for playoffs.
Yeah.
If Milo wins their match by any amount, they will most likely go to playoffs.
So they have the tiebreaker win into Cabral. So...
Yeah.
Milo...
Or no, they'll go in anyways, because higher diff anyways.
Potentially, yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying, right? Like, if Cabral wins his match by, like, let's say 1, you know, then yeah, Milo gets in anyway. But if Cabral wins his match by, let's say, 4 or 5 or 6, and Milo does not win by that much, but still wins, maybe gets a 1 or a 2-0, which, again, very common fare for Milo, Cabral still gets in on diff. Yep. Because Milo's diff is only 2 above. Now, here's the catch. Here's the tricky thing. Cabral is fighting IDM. That is a whopper of a match to win. That's going to be really, really tough. And it's depressing, even, to have your season hinge on that. Milo has to fight Claire. Also a very difficult match.
Yep.
So,
both are in their fucking depression arc right now.
This is really scary. You know, Cabral has just barely the edge on wins. Milo has just barely the edge on diff. But, most interestingly, Jason can also still go on, and he has the theoretically easiest opponent. Now, that is to say, it's not easy. He has to fight Mass, who has, like I said earlier in his own video, an insane draft, and someone who already has 2 wins, who has proven himself capable of beating players like Jason before, so it's not a given, but compared to Claire and IDM, that is the match you want, week 7.
Yeah.
So if Jason wins that match, and Cabral and Milo both lose their matches, and Jason wins, like, let's say by 3-0, Cabral loses by 3-0, Jason grabs it.
Yep.
But here's what's really interesting. If all of them lose, Cabral gets in because he has a higher win. He'll be at 3 and 4, the others will be at 2 and 5.
Yep.
So there's just no other doing it. If Cabral wins it all, then Cabral is guaranteed in because he'll be at 4-3, and no one can catch up to him because the best they can do is 3-4.
Yeah.
So that means if you're Cabral, you either want to be a winner, just full stop, beat IDM, you're in. No questions asked. But if you lose, everyone needs to lose, and you still get in.
Yeah.
So that's really funny. That means that if IDM and Cabral fight last, Cabral gets in no matter what if the other two have already lost. That there's just no way not to go forward. Now, we are glossing over Imitable Mass and Woody. Now, Woody has been long since disqualified. Like, he can't make it into playoffs. There's just no mathematical way to do it. Mass is also now in the same boat, because even if Mass were to get a 6-0 win and Cabral were to get a 6-0 loss, Cabral would still be ahead of him by 1 differential.
Yep.
And that would leave him in 4th.
Yeah, no, it's just, it is literally impossible for Mass to now get into playoffs, unfortunately.
Which is very sad, because he brought it close, but, you know, as we said, you know, it was between Mass and Cabral got that.
Yep.
So now it is just, the story is like, can Cabral hold on for dear life? He has the highest chance of making it in, but it is scary to have that hinge on how well you do versus IDM, compared to someone like Milo, who, you lose, Milo wins, Milo is pretty much guaranteed in. Actually, literally guaranteed in. But you could both still lose it to Jason if he just makes that come from behind, like, comeback immediately.
Yeah.
So.
No, honestly, like, I'm very excited to see what happens with Violet this week. Just to see that, like, who is gonna get that 4th and final spot, because they can literally go like any one of those 3.
Yeah. There is no telling how this is gonna end, and I'm psyched for it. I have no idea.
Yeah.
So, stay tuned for Week 7 of the Double Dip Draft, the Violet Division. It's all on the line. Do we get a 3-way tie? Who makes it out with the bye? Who gets in 4th place? Who is going home with their little bindle? You know,
does White Loaf beat Spood? Oh wait, that's
White
Scarlet.
Loaf beat Spood. Different division. Hey, I will actually give you permission to watch Scarlet this week. I finally got a win. In case you guys were wondering. Hey, Violet fan. I did it. Yay. Spoiler.
We finally got there.
We got there in the end. I'd like to thank the Academy. I'm now at a modest 1-5. That's fine. Hey, check out Scarlet. It's a cool week. Interesting things happened across the board. And check out Teal. Teal is always banging. There's a lot of cool storylines going on up there. A lot of do or die this week. You're not going to want to miss it. Week 7 is going to be crazy across the board, and we can't wait to see you there.